Hello everyone, this is Steve from gospel-kingdom.com. Come to you today with another video. And I just want to add, if I have any links to any web pages on this video, you go to the website I just showed there, and you will see a menu on the left side of every page, and it'll have all the links there, and you just click on the one shown in the picture. Alright, so today on my video I'm going to talk to you about the testimony of Jesus Christ in my life. Now I have a web page for this, and you can check it out here. But today I'm not going to go over my entire story. It's too long and too lengthy, and I'm just going to go over some of the major events in my life and how the Lord is glorified by doing miraculous things in my life and directing my path. So at this time, Bruce was moving again because of his personal reasons. Excuse me. And he's moving to Florida. He says, Steve, you just, changed your life. Why don't you come down to Florida with me? I'm like, sure. Okay. So I go down to Florida, and I decide to get a job. I get a job at McDonald's, and then I realize, I'm missing God here, but I didn't want to admit to it. Okay, so then I fell into a sin. I decided I was going to go back in the military, go backwards in my life. So the Air Force wouldn't take me because they had already, sent all these people out of the military. But I decided to go to the Navy. Went to next door to the Navy, and they said, yeah, we'll take you. You can keep your rank. Don't even have to go to basic training. We'll take you to this special class, teach you some of the fundamentals of the Navy life, and you're in. I go, oh man, that's fantastic. Don't have to go to basic training, get to keep my rank. So I did that. Biggest mistake in my life. Biggest mistake in my life. So I go into the Navy, but even before I go into the Navy, and at this time, I head back up north to Wisconsin, and I'm having doubts. I'm like, I can't go in the Navy. This is not what God wants me to do. And the Navy was pulling a fast one over me. I didn't sign any documents yet, didn't make any commitment, but they were harassing me, trying to get me to keep in there. Excuse me. And my dad, being a military man, just, you got to go in. You got to fulfill your commitment. I didn't commit anything. I didn't sign anything. You got to do it. It's the right thing to do. My pastor at the time says, you should just do it, and then you can get out early if you want, because you got 180 days to get out. Okay. So I went into the Navy. But I took a lot of the teachings from Randy Schenkel and his church, the Church in Marshall, Texas, with me, and I went into the Navy. So they sent me back to Florida for training, back and forth. So I'm in Florida. So again, I'm out of God's will, but He's there. He's there with me. So I end up being shipped to Japan and put on the USS Midway, an aircraft carrier. Horrible. I hated it. I know I liked the Air Force, but it was in the United States, and I'd seen all the sin over there. In the Navy, there was a lot of sin. But of course, when I was in the Air Force, I wasn't a born again Christian. Till at the end of the Air Force career, I became a born again Catholic. But now I'm a born again Christian, and I couldn't stand the military, sinful life everywhere. And I wanted to leave. And I finally went to my superiors, and I said, okay, I know about this 180-day separation. I want to take it out. And they denied it existed. And they wouldn't let me leave. They refused to let me leave. So, by the way, I'm willing to say right now, if you want to know more details about my Navy experience, I have a webpage on that, and you can look at it right here. All right, so the Navy refused to let me leave. They refused to give me my 180-day separation, denying it even existed. And eventually, they got tired of me asking for this, and then the ship left to go to Korea, I believe it was South Korea they were going to. And they were gonna cross some naval line. I don't think it was the equator. It was some other line. And when you do this on a ship, they have all these pagan rituals that they celebrate. And if you go to that link I show you, you can see a video of these things. And I said, if I go on this cruise, I refuse to participate in those pagan rituals. They said, if you do that, we're going to make you scrub the deck with a toothbrush. and you have any of the partying that what's going to go along with it, you're going to be working 12 hours a day, scrubbing the floor with the toothbrush. So whatever, I'm not participating. Well, they got tired of me, like I said, and then they went on the cruise, and they left me on the base doing shore patrol duty. So I was doing that, and it was okay. I still didn't want to be there. I wanted to be back following God and going to the Bible school. I know I had missed God now, and I was trying to find to do it right. So one night, I was sleeping, and I had a dream. This is amazing. I had a dream. In the dream, I was at the church in Marshall, and I saw Randy Schenkel. Now, understand, I'd never seen Randy Schenkel. I was only listening to audio tapes. I think I had a catalog with a black and white picture of him in it. But in the dream, there he was, and he was ministering to me, and he was wearing a robe and a medallion. Now, this is a non-denominational churches. They don't wear robes and things like that, like they do in the Catholics and the Lutheran churches and other denominations. They don't do that. They wear, regular civilian clothes. So in the dream, he was wearing a robe and a medallion. And I woke up to knocking on the door. And I got up. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Wow, that's a crazy dream. So I go at the door, and someone says, "You have a message from the Red Cross. Chaplain wants to talk to you at the Red Cross." So, okay. I just woke up, so I got dressed to go down there, and I found out my step-grandfather died. And I was like, oh, okay, well, thank you for the message. And then I got an idea. I can use this to go back to the States. And once I get there, I can get more help from the people in the Navy there. They will be more sympathetic to me, and I can get out of the Navy. So I got the piece of paper to go on leave, to go home in the United States to go to the funeral. And I had to get like 6 signatures of all the people in chain of command. Excuse me. So I got them all, except the last one, the highest ranking guy. Some high-ranking Navy guy, and he gets the paper. He says, "This is your step-grandfather? Did he raise you?" "No." He's not close enough relative for you to go home. I deny this request. Something snapped in me right there. And to this day, I don't know whether this was of God or not. But I do know if you're missing God, something tragic has to happen to get you back on God's path. Whether that tragic thing is God or not, I don't know. To this day, I don't know. But I decided then and there that I was going to go. As they would call it, AWOL. I decided just to pack up and leave and go back to the United States. So I did that. I said, I'm going to go right to the church in Marshall. So I got on a plane, went all the way to church in Marshall. So I get down to Texas, and the land again's not open up. Can't find a job. Can't find a place for myself to stay. And then the elders of the church hear about my situation. They call me in. And they said, "Is this all true? You really are AWOL from there?" "Yes, sir." And they said, "This is not right. You need to get this right. You need to get right with God and do everything correctly, and then the land will open up." I said, "Okay, I'm ready to do it." I said to him, "Pastor from Wisconsin prophesied I need to do something I want to do. All right, I'm willing to do it." So I go right. "You don't need to do it now. You can go now." I said, "No, I can do it right, but do it now. Drive me to the recruiter." So they did. They drove me to the recruiter, and I turned myself into a recruiter. It was like, "Whoa, you're AWOL." So they took me in. The Air Force took me in, a recruiter, and they shipped me to a Air Force base in Louisiana, where they processed me. They gave me tons of junk. They treated me like I was a criminal. They finally sent me to Corpus Christi, Texas, excuse me, where I was going to go through the administration of court-martial and all that kind of stuff. By the way, Corpus Christi, it means body of Christ in Latin, so that's interesting. So I went through a court-martial. So I'm before the judge, and by the way, my dad finds me at this time. He has military connections, and he comes down, he visits me, and he's sympathetic. He doesn't yell at me like I thought he would. But he tells my lawyer, my Navy lawyer, tells my dad this, but doesn't tell me. The Navy lawyer says, they're going to take your son, they're going to throw him in prison, and they're going to throw away the key. This young man is AWOL. He's got no chance. Of course, my lawyer didn't tell me that, giving me all kinds of, they'll probably slap you on the wrist and let you go. So I'm going through the AWOL court-martial, and the judge says, "Sailor, why did you leave?" I says, "Well, my life was in danger." "What do you mean your life was in danger?" And then of course, I didn't share this earlier. When I was on the ship, I got dehydrated, and my body wasn't holding fluids. Never in my life do I sweat well in hot weather, and I just did not do well, and I thought I was going to die. And the doctors, they said I wasn't drinking enough water. I was drinking like 8 glasses of Kool-Aid. They says, "Well, that's not enough, but still, with 8 glasses of Kool-Aid, you shouldn't be this dehydrated. Something's wrong with you." So anyway, the judge heard this after I told him the story. He says, "That's interesting. We're going to delay your trial. We're going to get your medical records." So they got my medical records, and it came 2 or 3 days later. The court case started up again. "We got your records here, and young man, there is a law in the courts, and if it's not a time of war, if your life is in danger and you leave your post, you're not considered AWOL." What? And they let me go. And they let me out of the Navy, but they found me not guilty. This was a miracle. This was a miracle. My lawyer couldn't believe it, and he told me what he told my dad. And my lawyer says to me, he says, "Sailor Lanich, if the media got a hold of this would be national news. You're the first person I ever know of a Christian who successfully won a court case against the Navy." So of course the Navy did not let me go, and they sent me to the next base, and they sent me to Norfolk, Virginia, and they were going to put me on another aircraft carrier and send me to Gulf War I. So I get to Norfolk, Virginia, and I go to my superiors, and I tell them my whole story. I says I've sinned. I joined the Navy. I shouldn't have. I don't need to be in the Navy. I'm not going to disobey God anymore. And I says I will take the punishment, but I'm not getting on that ship. You do with me as you like. You can execute me for treason. You can give me bread and water for a week, because the Navy still did that. Throw me in prison, whatever you need to do. I'm not getting on that ship. I need to get out of the Navy. I need to obey God, but I'm willing to pay for the crimes I committed because I sinned against God. And the Navy was like, what's this? They didn't understand that. They didn't understand it at all. So, and then my officer and my group ordered me on the ship. I said, "No, sir, I respect you, but I'm not going on. You can punish me. I said, nothing to do with against war. I says, I'm not supposed to be here. I disobeyed God. I'm not supposed to be here." They didn't understand how I was doing this. Like, you ran away before, you're not going to run away again? No, I'm not going to run away. I'm here to take my punishment if there's going to be punishment. So they loaded up all the ship, and my commander, he took me into his office in the hangar, and he sat me down with 2 officers behind him. He says, "Young man, you're not going to get on that ship?" No, sir. "No, sure. I'm not going to do it." He says, "What's wrong with you?" And I tell him, "I'm a Christian. I disobey God. I'm not getting on that ship. It has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with the Navy. I just got to obey God. And because I disobeyed God, I'm willing to take the punishment for my sin. And I got to be right with God." And he didn't know what to do with that. He said, "Do you hate me?" I said, "Sir, I don't hate you. I love you. If you want, I'll give you a hug right now." He said, he said, "Are you gay? If you're gay, I can get you out of here." And, for half a second, I was tempted. I'm gay. I could tell I'm gay. I'm out of here. I'm not gay. Gay's a sin. I only thought about for half a second until I get out of the Navy. I said, "No, sir, I'm not gay. I'm a Christian. I want out of the Navy. If I can't get out of the Navy, then I'll take my punishment. Whatever you got to do, I'm not getting on that ship." He said, "All right, that's it. You sit right there. You stay there, and you don't leave." They got up, left, and went on the ship. They left me in the middle of a hangar, all empty of all their equipment, and I'm the only person sitting in this office in an empty hangar. I don't know how long. My senses were all keyed up. I may have been there 15 minutes. I may have been there 4 hours. To this day, I don't remember how long I was. And then sometime later, I don't know how long, Shore Patrol shows up and says, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" I tell them my story. Like, this is crazy. So they pack me up in their car and take me to the headquarters of the base, where the big guys were. We're talking. You got to understand. They didn't train me well in the Navy. I don't remember all their rankings are called. Admiral, whatever. They took me where all admirals are, really high-ranking guys, and these guys says, "What are you doing here?" I tell them my story. "Well, we're going to get a helicopter just for you to bring you out to the ship," because the ship had already left. I says, "Well, I was just like I told the previous officer, you order me on the ship, I wouldn't go. You try to order me on that helicopter, I'm not going up." "Well, we'll carry you." I says, "Oh, if that's what you got to do, you got to carry me, put me on there. All right, we're going to look into it, see if we can do that." They looked into it. They could not carry me onto a helicopter. So they decided to send me to what's called a captain's mast. It's sort of like a court martial, but it's not a court. It's a high-ranking officer decides his fate on you. In general, it's lesser charges are given, but they also can have the authority to send you into prison. So while most of the time it's lesser charges, a higher charge is available and they can send you to prison. So it's possible they were going to send me to prison. So the day came for my captain's mast, and I got called in, and here I'm standing before a high-ranking Navy officer, and he asked me my story. I tell him my story. He says, "Well, I'm a Christian too." He says, "What you saying is really true? That's really what you believe?" "Yes, sir. It's really what I believe." I says, "I'll take any punishment you give me. I gotta obey God. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll obey it." I said, "I'm not going on a ship. I'm not going to continue my service in the Navy. I'll sit here on this base and do nothing, but I will not continue my service in the Navy." He says, "Okay, you're out of here. I'm going to bust you one rank. You're going to have 30 days of extra duties, and you're out of here." So they gave me a non-disciplinary removal from the military, and off I went. And I went back to Texas.